What's up, guys? Welcome to the What a Deck profile for the AromaTrix deck. Aromage and Traptrix, basic combination. So, we'll go ahead and start off. Got our 3 Aromage Rosemary. Pretty nice card. Basically just here because it has the most attack of any of the Aromage monsters. And also good against flip effects. Otherwise, not all that useful. You've got a Cactus Bouncer. I don't know why I keep saying Bouncer. Really good lockdown card if you control another plant and neither player can special summon. And all the cards in the deck are plants except for Myrmilio. So getting that out, pretty easy. We've also got Dionea. Dionea is here because she's a plant, so it works with Cactus Bowser, also a level 4. So you can make most of your level 4 rank 4 Ixies with it. Also, when it's summoned, if you have a Myrmilio in the graveyard, you can special summon Myrmilio, who, when she's special summoned, destroys a spell trap on the field. So it's a pretty good +1 combo, like, summon this, destroy something, make an Ixie monster, and works out pretty well. And Myrmilio, of course, when it's normal summoned, you can grab any of your Trap Hole cards, any of them. Also good rank 4. Here you got Kanaga, second best Aromage. If your life points are higher than your opponent loses 500 attack. And since your field spell gives you 500 attack, that's like 1,000 difference. That can really make a lot of stuff, really make the difference against high attack point monsters. Also, when you gain life points, you can send a spell trap your opponent controls back to the hand. So especially when you've got something like Refreshing Wind, where you're gaining life points during your opponent's turn and during your turn, you can activate this in the end phase, send a card back, and then during your turn, send a card back. So you can keep sending their back row back every turn, if they've only got like 1 or 2 cards. Lone Fire Blossom, 3 of those, searches out any of your plants, which again is everything but Myrmilio. You can also use, not super useful, but if Dionea is special summoned, you can grab a Trap Hole from your graveyard and set it, but it only stays there for 2 turns, and then I think it's banished. Yeah, banish it during the end phase of your turn. So, mildly useful. It has come into play during a couple testing. Been useful, but, not particularly. Also, this can't be special summoned. You have to normal summon this. Jasmine. Best Aromage card ever. This is your bread and butter. You always want to get this. This is when you gain life points once per turn, draw a card. So with your field spell, you're going to be drawing. With Refreshing Wind, you can draw during your opponent's turn. If you have other draw stuff, or other life point gain stuff, you can draw. I found these 2 were the fastest. That's why I just went with those. But really good. Also lets you normal summon again if your life points are higher. So of course, if you get first turn, Jasmine, Aroma Garden, Cactus, you can gain 500, draw a card, normal summon Cactus, and then there's no special summons. Pretty good lockdown. Of course, it's 3 card combo, so it's a little difficult to pull off, but with 3 terraforming, you usually get Aroma Garden. Aroma Garden's your other key card. If you control Roma monster, gain 500 life points. So it just helps a little bit getting them back. You can also use it to activate any of their effects where you gain life points. You also, all the monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense, and that's even monsters summoned after you use that, and even if that card is destroyed, they keep the attack and defense until your next turn. So again, combined with this, you're gaining a whole lot of attack. Makes this a 2400 defense wall. Cactus Bouncer, of course, goes to 23. So you're getting a lot of good, a lot of really high attack. So if you can lock them out with all these other things and keep drawing, you should be able to attack for game in a couple turns. Also, if your Traptrix are destroyed, then you gain 1,000 life points, which again, sometimes you'll put out Jasmine in attack mode just so you can draw, and then you'll normal summon another one, and then they'll attack Jasmine, and then you'll be able to activate one of these 2 other effects. That's where Rosemary's effect comes into play. Like, you can change a monster's attack or defense position. Change their battle position, sorry, when you gain life points. So sometimes if they've got 2 monsters, you can negate one of the attacks, basically. And then we've got all the Trap Holes. With this particular run, I just wanted to cover all my bases. We got 2 Void Trap Hole for high attack point. Got 2 regular Trap Hole for those normal summon decks, 2 Deep Dark Trap Hole, which works well for Ixies, Bottomless, which works well for everything, and Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare, which works for just about everything. And then finally we've got Refreshing Wind, but I like to call it Moist Wind, because it's just moist. That word is just... this is your Searcher, gonna pay 1,000 to get any of your Aromages, and then if your life points are lower than your opponent's, you can gain 1,000 or gain 500. So this is what you use. You can activate any of their effects during your opponent's turn if your life points are lower, and it's pretty easy to make them lower because you can lose 2,000 a turn or 2,000 by using it during your turn and your opponent's turn. So that's just drawing more and more cards or just changing battle position, sending things back. Pretty useful. Extra deck. We got Crazy Box, just for those skill drain decks. Ragna Zero, always good. Black Ship of Corn, also a plant, so you can get that plus Cactus Bouncer. 2 Silent Honor Arcs, because that's what I use most of the time. Heartland Draco, because you have your face-up spell and your face-up trap. Oh no, it's just spell. But you have your face-up spell card, so it can't be targeted. Castell, Exiton, Gagaga, just for extra. We're playing 3 Rafflesia, the new Traptrix Ixie. Unfortunately, we didn't get to use it in the Wada deck, but really, really good. Basically lets you activate trap holes from the deck by detaching. Also unaffected by trap cards while it has material. And your other Traptrix monsters can't be destroyed by battle or card effects while this is on here. Super, super good Traptrix card. Makes Traptrix really awesome. And of course it's a plant, so it works with all the other stuff. Unfortunately, just couldn't get it out. Really hard to get it out unless you get the Maramillo Dionea. Let's see, we've also got Acid Golem, Wind Up Zenmains, and Fortune Tune, just because you do have your level 3s there and there. It never came up. I've used Zenmains once, and I used this once because during each of your standby phases, gain 500, so just activates all their effects again. And then for the side deck, most of these are just, not necessarily cards you'd want to put in the side deck, but just cards that I wanted to talk about that are either other options. Some of them are side deck cards, but, or like this guy, this is the other Aromage. He's got 2,400 attack. As long as your life points are higher, he does piercing, and when you gain life points, he gains 1,000 attack and defense. I didn't play him because you have to tribute summon him. Even though you can normal summon again with Jasmine, you usually don't want to get rid of Jasmine, and just doing piercing isn't good enough most of the time. 3,400 can be something to contend with, but I couldn't find it worth it. Likewise, this is the other 2 Traptrix, Atrax and Nepenthes, whatever. This is an insect. Activate trap holes from your hand, which is good, but it didn't really fit with the rest of the deck. And this one, what was it? When you activate a hole trap card, you can add another Traptrix to your hand. It's a plant and it's rank 4, so it might work with the deck, but I didn't think its effect was really worth it. It just has high defense. Juragetto, he was in this deck for the longest time, because he's so good with this gaining attack point, or gaining life points thing. Unfortunately, he's just a little too slow. Most of the time, I'd rather either get a trap hole or lock them down, or just be able to use Aroma Garden. And he's not a plant, so he doesn't work with the other things. I just had times when like they Darkhold or the Raigeki or they did something, and his effect just wasn't that useful, or I'd get multiple of him. And but he's really good to consider. Really good side deck card against certain decks. Dandelion, plant, works with everything, good defense wall. If you wanted to make a more synchro-based version of that, you could do that. Throw in Spore, too. Aroma Jar. This one I would recommend putting in the side deck. Against certain... He's one of those, when he's flipped, he can't be destroyed by battle. So you just set him. And then there are some decks just don't really have an out to that very much. I find Shadal's and Kleehorps have a hard time getting around Aroma Jar. They just don't have stuff that destroys monsters that aren't special summoned or don't have effects. And then, of course, during each player's end phase, you're gaining 500. When I had this in the deck for a while, this is when I was winning the duels with like 16,000 life points. Because it was just getting ridiculous between this and Moist Wind and Aroma Garden. You'd have to be a fool not to play Raigeki. I was a fool this time, but I'd probably put it in the main deck. And then everything else is pretty much just the various trap holes. I mentioned this a little bit in the What a Deck, but basically, like, this build I have right here is, again, it's made for singles. There is no siding, so I just tried to put a little bit of everything, because I usually tend to get out Rafflesia, so I can use whatever from the deck that I need. And then otherwise, I just gotta hope I get what I want. Ideally, I would probably recommend playing 3 Void Trap Hole, 3 Traptrix, Trap Hole Nightmare, and then maybe like one of these two or something. I don't know. Yeah. And basically what you want to do is put the other ones, put like 3 don't play Trap Hole in your main deck. Put 3 Trap Holes in your side deck. If you're playing an opponent who has something where they normal summon a lot, then you'll throw in your change out your Void Trap Holes for Trap Holes, or your Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmares for Trap Holes. Likewise, against Synchro decks, against Necros, you probably want Deep Dark Trap Hole. Against Pendulum decks, you want Giant Trap Hole, because that's going to destroy all the monsters on the field. Chaos Trap Hole is a maybe. It costs 2,000 life points, but it can negate a normal or special summon of a light or dark monster. Might be worth it against certain light or dark decks. Space Time Trap Hole is the only one I'm really not sure about, because that can cost you a lot of life points. But against pendulums, it can just shut them down if they pendulum their entire hand. So there's that. There's also Parching Wind, which is the other Aromage trap. I decided not to use it just because it's if you gain life points, destroy a monster. When in testing, I played against a lot more meta searcher floater monsters that when they got destroyed got effects, so that wasn't too useful. And then if your life points are 3,000 higher than your opponent, you can pay the difference and destroy monsters whose attack is less than or equal. Again, just destroying monsters, not really that useful. It might be useful later against certain decks, against certain metas. It's not bad, I just didn't like it for this particular time. And then Pollinosis. Really good with all these plants. Again, this was in there for quite a while. Just came out recently. But it can stop the normal or special summon a monster or spell or trap. You have to get rid of one of your plants. But normally you're getting 2 summons with Jasmine, and everything's a plant except for this. Sometimes it's worth to get rid of Jasmine if you can stop a key play. The only thing about it is it's a 2-card combo. And sometimes you negate something that you think is going to be their key play, and then it doesn't work out for you. So there's the AromaTrix deck. If you want to see it in action, I did the What a deck. I played 10 duels with it. You can see how it works out. Most of the combos get shown off. Although again, if you want to see Rafflesia, doesn't really show up, unfortunately. But everything else gets a chance to shine. So you can check that out in the annotations there. Probably been there for a few minutes. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week with another What a Deck profile.